I can mend your heart. Krista. Hi. Let's turn on some lights. Let's turn on some lights. Lights, camera. Nice. Can you see me over here? Nice. I can't see anything with these glasses on. Like, they're polarized, so yes, it's dark in the room, but also I can't actually see any screens. Okay.
Can you show me how to breathe? I can't remember right now. Show me how to move. My knees are broken. I'm down. Can you show me how? Can you show me how to breathe? I can't remember right now. Show me how to move. My knees are broken. I'm down. Can you show me how to? Like it was easy when I didn't have to say much. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know love. I miss the feeling I miss when I was young. It was easier growing up. It was easier growing up. It was easier growing up.
Alright, you should be able to hear me now. You can't hear me at all. So you can hear me now.
Checking. Checking. Okay. All right, well, I just paused the music. That's the only thing that changed. All right. All right. Can't hear myself now. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good now. Okay, cool. I don't know what that was about. That was really weird. That was like a glitch or something. I have no idea. All I did was turn off the music. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well. We're back at it again. Well, we're back at it again. Shit is out here. Looking thrilled in that thumbnail. Perfect. Update is ready. Perfect. Alright, nice. Alright, so let's bring it up here.
Tonight I'm gonna meet my maker. Castellan and speak.
Chill. Nice. So there's 3 watching. Interesting. Lena, what's up, Lena? Oh my goodness. How are you? How's it going? How was your meeting yesterday? Welcome to YouTube. This is your first time, right? Your first time to this stream, right? On YouTube? I'm just trying to get on my for event craziness. Oh my goodness. Alright. Is it today? I thought it was on tomorrow. Or are you setting up? You're setting up, right? Okay, hold on. Here we go. Hello, welcome to YouTube. I've been going crazy all day. So I'm just trying to get my bearings here. And then we can get into book stuff. Into the book stuff. We've been writing a book, Lena. I don't know if you knew that. We're writing a book. Nice. We're doing it. We're really doing it. We're flying. Leanie. Beautiful. All right, hold on. Okay, that feels better. It's like I'm grabbing you by the neck. Oh my god. Just stepped and played with dog shit. Holy shit. No way. Oh no. You guys are outside? Oh, this is nice. This is nice now. Now we're having a good time. Now we're having a good time. Okay, now I can chill. Now I can chill. I've been non-stop today. Oh my goodness. Minimal bees? Did the ripples come in? I'm so parched. I'm so parched. You're drinking too much coffee, I think. To get into Saturday, unfortunately. Well, maybe not unfortunately then, because you are, you seem like you're having a fine time today, right? Now, where do we even begin? Where do we even begin? Where do we even begin, guys? Oh, well, let's spam some emojis. Let's take it easy for a second. Let's, you know, ease into it. Also, I'm getting tired of this mustache, but I need it for Threshold. I haven't touched it because I've only been working on Reels and administrative stuff. Look at these Reels. Look at these emojis. They're so good. The emojis here are so good. This one is good. The one you just used. Oh, this one's one of my favorites right here. The alligator. Oh, this show. And last minute Canva stuff for the event. Ooh, and I got a flat tire. Ooh, my car's still in the shop. My car's still in the shop, unfortunately. I'm sorry about your flat tire. That sucks. That's giving me like flashbacks to when I got my rental. I told you guys the story, right? Where my rental tire exploded the first day I got it up in the mountains. So Dylan is fixing my car and then coming home, and I have to go back to work. Oh my goodness. I guess like now's the time though, right? I mean, the flat tire is a piece of shit. That's a piece of shit thing to happen. That's a terrible thing to happen. Bad timing. How did you get the flat? It just happened. It just leaked. Or did you run something? Did you hit a nail or something? Is it a bad flat or is it just a hole? Because when I popped my tire, dude, it was ripped open. On the side too, like on the wall. So whatever I hit, whatever was in the road was like a jagged piece of metal that fucking ripped the tire wall. Oh, it's getting a little windy out there. It's getting a little winded. Yeah. That was insane. But that was a long time ago now. It's all about you now. What happened? Thank you for stopping by. This is like a very busy time, I'm sure. With the event tomorrow. Crazy. I'm glad you came though. Aren't the vibes nice? The vibes are nice. I want to know about your the collective meeting yesterday. How'd it go? It sounded like a rock or something that went through the wheel well. Really? A rock? Like must have been some rock to pop your tire. Damn. Damn. Hey, 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 hey. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay, so the Lennon reel is uploaded. It is uploaded, it is scheduled, it is in the system. The ice water reel is sound design. I went crazy with the sound design. I went way too crazy with the sound design. I need to stop doing stuff like that. But it came out. It's coming out. It came out phenomenal. I love it. So the most important. Oh, 3 times a week. Goddamn. I love consumption events in the works. Consumption. So like what? They're just going to be smoking weed? They smoke weed 3 times a week? Is that what's going on? Is that what you mean by consumption? You're the creative director? What are you directing? You guys have events and stuff? Or like, I guess consumption events, but outside of that, like creative, like murals or, you know, something like that. We do a lot. That's so nice. What kind of stuff you guys doing? Have some more free time to actually sit and create stuffs. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. You'll smoke and create. Beautiful. Different stuffs. And you like, I know you showed us some stuff of you guys painting. Posting more soon. Very nice. Very nice. How many people are in the collective? Like 30 or something? Right? Or am I thinking about something else? You know my name. You know my name. And now we have our products selected for the store, so those have to be resized. That's going to be a little bit of a thing. I have to like size all the things independently is interesting, right? We have our real selected. It's looking good. It's looking real good. I figured it out. I really figured it out. I really figured out like the whole system, I think, as far as like what I was trying to do this month at the beginning of the new, you know, the new era, if you want to call it that. It was just casual at the local girl's house. We want to keep meeting up at her place to just create and have fun. Are you guys doing anything like with those sunglasses? Are you guys doing any like work projects? Are you guys hanging out, like things that you're trying to like collaborate on to in like a professional manner, or is it just like a chill time? A 2K event next weekend, and also just or we can also just have fun. When you say 2K, how do you mean? Like 2,000 people? From like other organizations and stuff? Okay. Alright, let me get the book out. All the above. But that's what he means, 2,000 people. Okay. Nice. Oh, Y2K. Okay. You said 2K. I was like 2000 event. 2000s event. Like early 2000s event. Early music outfit. How many people are in the collective? To all the stuff you were asking to if we do. I see. There's a lot of stuff. Everything. You guys are just doing everything. Like I got one of the artists to do art for my work event. Ooh, very nice. I was asking ChatGPT to draft up the characters, but that was a mistake. Because I think the characters should be like, I don't want to describe them too much. I want them to be like more interpretive. I got one of the artists to do art as far as their physical appearance. Did 2 walks with my weighted vest today. It was so nice out. I went before my mama came out because I was worried she would be able to. Again later this morning. Oh, that's amazing. Let me see. Okay, Y2K. Let me see. No, I can't because it'll just ruin your perception. I mean, as long as you know that it's not canon. It's not canon at all. it kept on doing this like one particular art style that I was like not like it looks cool, but it's not it. It's like not it whatsoever. Yeah, I'm like, how many chapters? Three chapters in to this book that I'm writing. Okay, here we go. What the hell? What the hell? Melatonin. It just has a different name. Because I started the chat. It's talking about melatonin. Alright, let's go through all the iterations then. Fuck it. I mean, they look pretty similar. The first one is crazy. Hold on, let me stop. Let me stop talking about it and actually show you. Oh my god. Oh my god. The first one is crazy. And then I was like, okay, now. And then this one, I was like, why are you turning Nimi into like a little anime elf girl? What the hell? You're really taking your own creative liberties here. Like, that is definitely not Calabasas. Can you see them good? Alright, this is right here. Oh my god. I was like, okay, now we're like in the realm. Okay, now we're actually like in. Now we're like actually in the ballpark. But I didn't like how Calabasas looked at all, and also Kersha has an extra hand, which is not great, and Nimi looked very generic. But it's this art style that I wouldn't shake. And I was like, he's gotta look less like, he looks like a bad guy here, Calabasas. He looks like an evil baron or something, but with a straw hat. And I'm like, give him like more of a like, you know, more of a look. And then it started to take shape, right? Now we're getting closer. And this is like kind of where things started to get as close as I wanted to get without just getting really pissed off because they wouldn't change the art style.
Tell me what I don't know. Stupid sitting down in the sorrow. Wipe it off on a brand new color.
It is crazy, right? Because I was trying to give like real world like interpretations of like what the characters remind me of, and I was imagining this music is not fitting the vibe. Also, I just totally screwed this up. I forgot that I shouldn't be listening to what's the other one? Dark Academy. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Nice. And now we're locked in. Well, that's good. I can just cut out the first part. Okay. And then I was like, and then it just got real fucking crazy. And then I went up to deep end. Because I was so adamant about them changing the style. Honey ham? Oh my goodness. Delicious. That sounds fantastic. I would love to have like a honey ham sandwich. Oh, but yeah, I was like trying to say like Calabasas was more like personality wise and like size wise kind of as Sully from Monsters Inc. Like a John Goodman kind of character, right? So like it actually made like its version of Sully, and I was like, all right, not what I was talking about though. And then I thought of Nimmy as like kind of like a Ness, like Earthbound kind of character, and it just made Ness. It just made the character Ness. I was like, okay, well. And then like Kershaw was like kind of similar, but I imagined like Kershaw to be more like String Beanie. So yeah, I didn't even want to show you guys this because this is like not even close. Still to this, like even if this is like the closest, it's still so far. Still so far. It's still so far from how they're supposed to look. But they're not supposed to look like anything. It's supposed to be something that you think of, not for me to explain. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. What are you having the honey and ham with? Peas? Okay. You can't even read that, so it's like not even... Can you read that at all? Because I'm just going to take it down if you can't. Okay, then forget it. I'll take it down. Because I won't be reading it up through the desktop anyway. Okay. Of where we're at right now with the story. The browser version of ChatGPT today has been so rough. Let me just try it from the phone. The phone always works. Stop. Okay, so give us a synopsis, because that was last week when we did a lot of the world building and the narrative for the book. But now we're here again on YouTube, and I'd like just like a brief overview of where we left off in like the story so far. That's so nice, you can see that. Are the kitchens still the same? Are the cabinets, did I say kitchens? I don't know. I said. Okay, you ready? You ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the recap? Okay. The story is set in a quiet meadow country with rolling hills, scattered farms, and a nearby village. Magic exists in this world, but it isn't loud or fully explained. It lives in ordinary things, in the land, the crops, the animals, and the subtle balance of daily life. At the center of the story is a small farm shared by a chosen family, Calabasas, a tall and steady provider, Kirsha, an older woman deeply attuned to the land and its remedies, and Nimi, a restless, adventurous child, always eager to be useful. The story begins very simply, rooted in farm life. Calabasas goes out to hunt and check traps. Kirsha cooks and tends the household, and Nimi climbs, wanders, and plays among the animals. But little by little, things begin to feel off. Calabasas notices that game is getting scarcer and the woods are quieter than they should be, though he keeps most of this to himself because he doesn't want to worry Kirsha before he knows whether anything is truly wrong. As food becomes harder to bring in, Nimi tries to help by going out with a slingshot, hoping to prove he can hunt too. Instead, he stumbles onto a hidden grove full of deer, beautiful, still, and strangely abundant. Calabasas goes out the next morning to scout the area for himself, trying to understand why the deer are gathering there and whether it can help the farm. He stays out much longer than expected, and while he's gone, tension rises at home. Kirsha grows increasingly worried, and then an innkeeper from the village arrives angry because of a batch of carrots Calabasas sold him has spoiled unusually fast. The confrontation escalates until Calabasas finally returns, carrying a stag and restoring peace for the moment. The deeper strangeness remains unresolved. From there, the story expands outward. Calabasas goes into town to make things right with the innkeeper and figure out what's wrong with the carrots. While there, he learns from a half-scholarly drunk at the bar that the rot on the crop resembles the kind of sickness that once ruined a farm. This leads him to the village library, where he finds an old book on blight and field sickness. He can't make much sense of it himself, so he brings it back to Kirsha, who reads it more clearly and gets excited about a possible remedy. The problem is that some of the needed ingredients have to be gathered high in the trees and in places cast about Calabasas can't easily reach. So, feeling increasingly out of his depth and forced to rely on others in ways he isn't used to, he turns to Nimmy and asks for help. That sets up the next movement of the story, Calabasas and Nimmy returning to the forest together, this time with a real purpose. Ballet moves. The cabinets are all tidy and organized. The way I left them. So that's the story so far. I mean, very abridged, I'd say. Very abridged, I would say. The way you left them. That's what I'll do here. Perfect. Oh yeah, Mitch sent me the edited versions of the photos that I sent him for Celeste, the ones I showed you guys, but they were unedited. He edited them and he sent me a file. I haven't checked them yet. Let's take a quick peek. Very natural. Very natural. Yeah, he just did some minor adjustment to the shadows and exposure. But nothing too crazy as far as the look. It's just pretty much clean. Very nice. Very nice, yeah. Oh, you probably can't see it's all rainbow. Oh, no, you can. That rainbow is obviously the screen. Yeah, I'll end up maybe editing some. And maybe putting like a multi-reel post. Once the reels start coming out, I'll probably throw something together just to kind of pair with what they're doing. Yeah, it's clean. It's very clean. Cool. Yeah, it depends. Ooh, he used like a very cool kind of grade for these other shots. No, he desaturated completely the background. He like totally turned it like black and white. These are like very stylized now. He like kind of went for a direction. I wish he was here. Yeah, these are good. He graded it. He's a fucking umbrella shot. No, they're very close to the originals. He just made sure that they were all kind of within the same range as far as lighting, and he made it a little bit more cool in this second half. Like cool as in temperature. Like white balance. It's more like towards the blue. Oh, they look great. I think she's gonna be very happy with these. She's probably already seen them. The one of the two of them looking at the camera. I'm not sure if he used that one. Honestly, I don't even know. It's 55 pictures. That's a lot of pictures. That's a lot of pictures. That's a lot of pictures plus the videos. That's a lot. Which one is that? Let me see if I can. So we can open up here. What's up? It's gonna make me sign in. I'm not gonna do it. Shit. Anyway, the book. I don't know if Lena probably left already. Yeah, I was kind of feeling like last night that I should have streamed on YouTube, like you said, but then I was like, I'm not operating from the same. I'm not thinking about it from the right lens. Like I was trying to do it just to min-max like the day, and that's not how it should be, because then it's just going to turn into like a pressure cooker thing where I'm like every free moment I have to stream. Like that's kind of where I was going with that. So what? Oh, she's here. Hello. I wasn't sure if you heard the book synopsis. Let's see. Yeah, that's not. I wasn't trying to be doing that. I wasn't trying to be doing that. Audio processing hearing. Were you able to hear what the story so far though? Did you get the gist of it? I could reread it if you want. And go into further detail if you have any questions. Actually, that probably would help me to flesh out the story a little more. Like I know where I want to go. Like things need to be flushed out more. It's just like I'm trying to drive the story, like drive the main narrative forward. And then afterwards, once I have like once I actually start editing it and like building it out, then I'll start like fine tuning the details. So this next part, Nimmy and Calabasas are going into the woods to collect the ingredients to save the farm, to hold back this disease. I've been multitasking, sorry. Do you want me to reread it? I could do that, unless you don't think you'll be able to listen, which is absolutely fine. To show food in my mouth and head back to work. Oh. Okay, no worries. No worries. Yes, you said chap 2 or 3. Let me know. What we got? I said chapter 2 and 3. And I think we got through 3 chapters. Or this is the 3rd chapter. Rereading the old messages. Yeah. Exactly. Like the first chapter is like getting to know the characters. They're all on the farm, how life is, you know? Just setting it up, right? And then the second chapter is when the whole thing with the town happens. And well, actually, I forgot how I paced it, because it could be 3 chapters. The first chapter is the setup. The second chapter is the whole thing with Nimmy going out to the forest, chasing the squirrel, and then Calabasas going, and then him being late, and then the guy, right? We're gonna end at a cliffhanger. Like what's gonna happen, and then Calabasas comes in chapter 3, and then chapter 3 is the whole town thing, and then this could be chapter 4. It seems fast, and it seems like there's maybe not enough, just because I haven't filled it out, but I want to fill that out. I almost want to read all this back. But like, I have to be able to, if I'm going to do this for real, I'm going to need to, which I want to for sure, I'm going to have to actually bring this off of the browser and like actually start writing it. Or like actually have like a master. Well, of course, I mean, yeah, definitely. just like trying to get the main story beats. Just so that we can like make progress. In the rolling hills of a temperate meadow country, there stood a small farm, half hidden by tall grass and the slow bend of the land. It was not much to look at from a distance, a weathered house, a crooked fence, a smoke trail rising thin and pale into the morning air. But to those who lived there, it was the center of the world. The farm belonged to no true family by blood, yet it was a family all the same, bound by love, by habit, and by the quiet decision to remain. There was Calabasas, tall and broad, a simple man with the strength to carry what others could not, and the gentleness not to boast of it. There was Kershaw, older, sharp-eyed, and deeply rooted in the land, who knew every turning of the hills, every herb by the stream, every sign of weather written in the wind. And there was Nimmy, small and bright with adventure, a child whose feet were always half a step from running toward something new. Skin up the ham. Oh my god, it is good, I bet. Like candy. Like pork candy. For as long as anyone nearby could remember, the land had known no war, no great hunger, no lasting trouble. The seasons arrived when they ought to. The fields gave what they were given. The roads were quiet. Whatever grief the world had once carried seemed to have passed gently around this place, leaving it untouched. That, perhaps, was why no one noticed at first when the feeling of the land began to change. There was magic in that country, though no one spoke of it as magic. It was not the sort of thing written in books or taught from one generation to the next with solemn instruction. It lived instead in the habits of the world, in the way a kettle sometimes sang before it boiled, in the way certain stones held warmth long after sunset, in the way a hand laid gently upon a frightened animal could calm its trembling. It was simple magic, old magic, woven so tightly into everyday life that most people no longer thought to name it. But simple things in the right hands could become terrible. A spark could light a hearth or burn a field. A whisper could soothe a child or bend a weaker heart. A root pulled from good soil could heal or poison. Who among them held that power? No one could have easily said. Perhaps it was Nimmy, small and eager, whose spirit reached always towards the unseen edges of things. Perhaps it had once been Kershaw, who knew the land so well that sometimes it seemed the hills themselves had taught her to speak. Or perhaps it was Calabasas, broad as an oak and twice as steady, whose great and careful strength kept the world from tipping too far into chaos. Beyond the meadowlands, at the edges of the farm, stood the forest. It had once been full of motion, deer passing lightly between the trunks, moose shifting through the underbrush like old kings, owls calling through the dark hours, and small creatures rustling unseen in the fern and root. The forest had always been alive in its own way, neither friendly nor cruel, but full. Lately, it had gone quiet. Not empty, not dead, only quiet. The sort of quiet that made a person lower their voice without knowing why. The peace of the land remained unbroken. The fields still breathed beneath the wind. The house still stood warm at dusk. No sickness had come, no stranger had brought ill news, and yet Kershaw, who knew every murmur and mood of that place, had never heard the forest so still. Calabasas thought little of it. Forests change, he said. Animals wandered. Winter lingered in places where spring had not yet reached. But Nimi, who had never once in their life seen a mystery and let it alone, wanted to know why. This is working especially well. This is the let it load. For a while, the change in the forest came in pieces too small to name. Calabasas noticed it first, though he would not have said so that way. One morning, he went to check the traps beyond the meadow, where the grass thinned and the trees began to gather in close. The first trap had been sprung, but there was nothing in it. No fur caught in teeth, no blood, no sign of struggle. The earth around it was soft from the night's damp, yet no tracks marked the ground. It was as if the thing had shut on air. He frowned, reset it, and moved on. At the second trap, the bait was gone. At the third, nothing had touched it at all. On the walk back, he noticed there had been no birdsong for some time, not silence exactly. The wind still moved through the leaves. Somewhere far off, branches creaked. But the living sounds, the rustle, the calls, the small stirrings that belonged to feather and fur, had thinned into something sparse enough to feel. When he returned to the farm, he mentioned it only because Kirsha had asked how far he had gone. "Sprung trap," he said, washing his hands in the basin by the door. "No catch, no tracks either. Strange thing." Okay, so this is, we're not going to do this because he's not going to say anything to them at first. Okay. At first, Calabasas told no one. Yeah, of course, yeah. And there would need to be some sort of explanation to what he's, looking at. It's definitely going to be a point in time where he's going to be explaining, what this world is and giving more information on, what the forest looks like, where he's going. That's going to be a whole thing itself. His, walk through the atmosphere and, him being able to, his relationship to it. That's going to be a big, point that I'll be writing about. Because it ends up being very important. I mean, it's very important obviously because of who he is and his role on the farm, but later on. At first, Calabasas told no one. The traps had begun to come up clean. That was all. A sprung snare with nothing in it. A patch of soft earth, untouched by hoof or paw. A morning wood so still that even the birds seemed to have chosen some other place to be. Strange, perhaps, but not yet worth bringing into the house. Kirsha had a way of hearing too much in a thing. Give her one missing sign and she would go looking for 10 more. Calabasas loved her for it, but did not always want to live inside the shadows of what might be. so he kept his thoughts to himself and brought home what he could. The farm went on as farms do. Kirsha cooked and dried herbs and boiled root into bitter draughts that she swore kept strength in the bones. Nimmy climbed wherever he could be told not to climb, chased hens in widening circles, and vanished so often into play that it seemed the yard itself invented him fresh each hour. The animals needed tending, the grain needed minding, fences loosened, weather shifted, meals were made. The days kept their shape, even as something inside them began to thin. Then Calabasas came home empty-handed. Once was unlucky, twice was strange. After that, it became a fact no one could quite set aside. Then Calabasas came home empty-handed. It's strange after that he began to set aside. Nimmy had listened long enough to know that no one meant to tell him anything useful. So when he took up his slingshot and declared he would bring back a squirrel before supper, Calabasas laughed once and told him not to be foolish. Nimmy went anyway. He found no squirrel. What he found, after much crashing through the brush and one stubborn chase after movement he only half saw, was a grove sunk low between old trees where the light fell green and soft. There, as still as figures in a dream, stood deer, not one or two, but many, more than he had ever seen gathered in one place. They lifted their heads as he entered, but did not run. When he came tearing home with the news, Calabasas went quiet. The place Nimmy described was wrong for deer, wrong for any easy hunting. He scolded the child for staying out too late, for going too far, for speaking as though the woods were a playground. But before dawn the next morning, he was gone. When Nimmy woke, Kirsha was already at the fire, boiling one of her black root tonics that smelled like wet bark and old coins. "Where's Calabasas?" Nimmy asked. "He left early," she said. "Said he wanted to see something for himself." Nimmy thought little of it then. But the morning passed, and then the afternoon, and by evening the light had thinned to amber, and still Calabasas had not come back. By the time the light had gone copper at the edges, Kirsha had stopped pretending not to listen for footsteps. The innkeeper had been talking. Ooh, I missed something. Okay, I guess this is all in my message. Okay. So I'm like amending what it should be. And this is my message. So Calabasas takes a lot longer than anticipated, but he does eventually come back with the game already dressed. And you know, it's just strange. It's just strange, that's all, you know? Things happen that are strange, and that the game would be all the way over there. So, but in the process of him leaving, tensions start to rise in the house. Obviously, Kersha starts to worry as it becomes darker out. But what's more of a thing is that somebody comes to the farm and causes a stir because the crop... Okay, I've already did this before. Bye, Leanie. Bye, Leanie. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you so much. How much XP do you have? You get experience points by being here and commenting. 125 experience points. Very nice. Very nice. Bye, Leanie. Okay. Yeah, I really have to start like compiling this so I'm not like sifting through. Okay. Yeah, I know. But I just don't want to get like too deep into that. But if I don't do it now, then maybe I won't do it until next time, and it's becoming like a compounding issue. Krista. Let me just ask for it too. I took off a week. You did? Oh my goodness. Did you guys ever meet up again? I thought you guys were planning something like that. Am I tripping? You guys were meant to meet up, right? Okay. Yeah, I can't use the browser. For some reason, it's like messed up. Okay. So, can you draft something up that it has the most detail as possible from what we've gone over so that I can copy and paste it into a master draft to work off of, so I'm not sorting through all of our messages to kind of come to like find the narrative that we settled on so far? I'm going to paste it into Pages. Alright, hopefully it does that. Be traveling. Oh shit, girl, that's when I'm gone. Ooh. Damn, dang. Snap. Snapples. Come out though. Lena, before you leave, how do you feel about YouTube as opposed to TikTok? What do you think about the YouTube stream? I know you've only been here for a little bit, but I'm curious to know your opinion. It's different, right? Yeah, it's way more. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's way more my speed, but you know, TikTok has its, you know, TikTok's better for discovery. It's better to be like, you know, for networking and like finding people, but this is more like a nice base. Like this is really where I feel like I can be me, not to sound corny. So inevitably, like eventually I want to be able to just like do more over here than over there. Like that's not going away at all, ever. But this is definitely coming up because we definitely want to get more of the requisites too. We want to get those view counts, we want to get those subscribers so that we can get monetized. So we have to be on here more anyway, if we ever hope to reach that mark. Exactly. Like over there it's like all about like velocity and momentum and like energy and like look at me, just like repetition, you know. Over here I can feel like I can have like a little bit more depth and like a little bit more space to breathe and like develop things and like have like long conversations without having to just like repeat the same 5 things over and over again and just try to be like capturing people's attention. Alright, let's hopefully this thing. Okay, but write it more like a story. Not like an overview, but more like you would read an actual book. Like write an actual book. Like with chapters as well. If possible. Because for context, I'm going to be heavily amending and fleshing out a lot of the narrative to add more exposition and more depth. But just so that we have this as a through line, just as a narrative, like just the main beats, right? But I want it to be in more of a detailed literary narrative instead of just like an overview. So if you do that, so I can copy and paste it, just as like what it would be like for a draft of the book so far. Well, yeah, it kind of sounds like that. But if you read what I read, it's like it starts like yeah, it does feel like that. It does feel like that. I mean, yeah, convert it to sales if you're, you know, on TikTok Shop, or you're just trying to get you're just like trying to get as many people in the room gifting as possible. That's like really what it is. So if you want to like consider a gift a sale, I mean, I'm sure like a lot of people do, but for me it's like ancillary, you know, it's just not the main thing. Like I want it to be sustainable. Like obviously the gifts are nice and I really appreciate them, but it's like sugar water. It's like you have to be very reactive and not proactive. You can't be proactive. You know, you can set up as much as you want, but you still have to bring that energy. You still have to be dancing around. You still have to be like repeating yourself thousands of times. And like, I feel a lot better doing that now that that's not the only thing. Now that I have YouTube as a counterbalance, it feels a lot better being there and doing that, because before it was just that and I was doing it every day and I was just like, there was a problem of alignment. Like I felt like it was very misaligned with what like TikTok is made for. So like I was fighting a battle that I had no stake in. Like I was not, like I didn't belong on that battlefield, in that war. But now that I have YouTube as well and I'm also posting more, it feels like everything's more balanced. But to answer your question, yeah, it's not that you ask a question, but it keeps on saying like, the opening tone of the story is meant to be quiet. Like I don't want you to say that. I just want you to say the story. Like just say the narrative. You know, the central setting is in a small farm. Like I don't like that language. This story is set in a temperate meadow. Like stop talking about it like it's a story. Talk about it like, stop talking about it like it's a book. Talk about it like it's an actual event that's happening. If that makes sense. A prose style. And build from it. Nice. Beautiful. Alright, so how many chapters does it have? It has chapter 1. It probably has the same. Chapter 2, The Grove Beyond. Okay, The Grove Beyond is going into the whole innkeeper thing. And then chapter 3 is The Village. Yeah, there's actually plenty here. It's still writing. I should put it into a shared Google Doc as my main editor, and then I'll put it in the Superfan. I want to put it on the website, not the Google Doc, but like the book so far. You know, like once we have like actual like certified drafts, I want to put there like its own page for the books. The book is the name of the page. But also, Lena, if you go to my website, it's live. I went live on Tuesday. It's a simple website. It's basically like a link tree, but it has a schedule for posts, for releases now. So you can look at it, and it has like about a little over 2 weeks of content laid out. So you can check and look what's going to be posted 2 weeks out. I'm doing my best to get to 4 weeks. I'm doing my best. I have 2 reels. I have 3 reels that aren't on the schedule yet that I'm working on. And then plus like a lot of photos that are already edited. Bye. Check the website if you want to see the schedule though. Bye, Lena. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you so much. Copy. Perfect. I'm gonna make a Google Doc. Hold on. I'm gonna send this. AirDrop it to my computer. And then I'm gonna do it from the computer, from the laptop. I tried this Atlas, this like ChatGPT browser thing. It's horrible. It's like not nice. It gets like stuck a lot. Oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, three chapters already. Alright, first let me make the Google Doc. And now we're gonna copy this bad boy. I'm writing books. I'm writing series. I love the cello. I think it's my favorite instrument to listen to. I love the cello. I love the bassoon too. No, not the bassoon. The oboe. Damn. Like I like the guitar obviously and stuff like that, but I don't know, something about that texture of a cello and the bassoon. Damn. Guys, I'm running a series. That's my announcement. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 19 pages, by the way. So rich it is. Luxurious. Alright, 13 pages after I deformatted it. Unformatted it. Okay. I wonder what the title of this book is going to be. I have ideas, because I already have some like forethought. It's subject to change, because as I like flesh out the chapters, like obviously a lot can come to fruition. Okay. Krista White. What's your email again? Tell me, because I don't want to just have a link. Kirsten White. Well, don't put it on here though. Probably not. Don't do that. Yeah. Do that. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna make you a commenter. So if you have any amendments, you can put a comment, and then maybe as we go, we'll have a second like working copy so that you can actually edit it, you know, so that there's like one master that's just touched by me, and then another one that you could like make edits to, and we can change things around, and then it could be then ported to the master. But right now we'll just have this one. Alright, I sent it to you. I sent it to you. Chapter 1, The Shape of the Farm. Yes. Dark edges of wood, the land is tempered and generous, given over the grain, root vegetables, hens, and the occasional fattened goat. A deeper note in things. The group beyond. Yeah. By morning, the stag had been portioned. The innkeeper's anger had settled into a problem that would not resolve. I wanted to see how it did the altercation. Well, I don't want to be like opening up the master and then not knowing like what has changed, right? And just like surprise, like coming upon it like surprisingly, you know. So at least it is like one concrete one. That's all. but I would love for you to just have the ability to change things as you would like. Just if you thought things could be like moved around, and then you could like leave like an editor's note in like a different color. You just have like a working copy and like the master. And potentially, you know what? I'll only use this copy off of the working copy eventually. Maybe sooner than later, actually. So that we're both only really making changes to the working, and I'm just adding then to the master. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I have to go to the bathroom. I've been holding it in for a long time. Just leave notes. Yes, editor notes. Editor's notes, like this part isn't explained enough, or like a question, right? Like as a reader, you'd be like, but what happened to this, right? Or if you thought something was too long, this can be shortened, things like that. Or maybe like suggestions, you know. And then you could also just like cut things and then just like leave an editor's note. Be like, I cut this because it just wasn't redundant, or, you know, but the beats you leave to me, and then everything else you can be like amending. What? We want to co-write this with me? Is that where this is going? Is that where this is going? this. The whole thing. Hate it. No context, just hate this. Still want to be the editor? Well, I was less trying to tell you what to ask and more just saying this is what I understand an editor to be so that we can be on the same page. Not that I'm telling you how to do your job. I'm just telling you this is how I understand the job is. Right? Now, if you have a different understanding, you tell me now so that we're of one mind. That is all. And that is all. Guys, the TV adaptations can't sell difference of opinions. That's how it all spirals. This is awesome. This is awesome. You said too much power and you'll change the whole story, and I'm like gonna come back and then like half the thing is just a completely different thing and I'll be like, what the fuck? Like so much for editing. It's just it's a fucking it's a big fat edit. Okay. Thanked her awfully at the time of. Yeah, well, how does this get held? The innkeeper found enough sense suddenly to lose some volume. Okay. When Nimmy woke, the house smelled of boiled root and damp cloth and breakfast not yet finished. Kirsha stood by the hearth with a pot in one hand and a spoon in the other, working at one of her bitter black root draughts. The sort she insisted kept the body sound through turnings of weather and strain alike, and which Nimmy maintained with equal conviction was fit only for punishing the wicked. Where's Calabasas? Nimmy asked, already suspicious. Gone out, said Kirsha. To where? To see whether you invented half of what you were saying yesterday. Nimmy stood a little straighter at that. I didn't. No, said Kirsha. I don't believe you did. There was a pause while she poured the dark liquid into a cup and set it on the table with a finality Nimmy knew too well. You'll drink it before noon. Nimmy made a face of such deep offense that, on another day, Calabasas might have laughed to see it, But Calabasas was not there, and Kersha, though not yet afraid, was listening for him in ways she did not bother to conceal. The morning passed in chores. Nimmy was kept close, then slipped loose, then called back, then set to tasks small enough to frustrate but large enough to occupy. Eggs were gathered, kindling brought in, a bucket rinsed, the goat insulted. The drought delayed and then endured. By midday the sun stood high and Calabasas had not returned. That by itself was not cause for alarm. Men followed sign. Men ranged wider than when game was scarce. Men took longer when luck finally turned. But the afternoon lengthened, and Kersha's gaze went more often to the yard, and then beyond it, toward the line where the field broke into scrub. She worked all the while. That was her way. The more uncertainty there was, the more precisely she cut, sorted, dried, washed, stirred. By late afternoon there were roots hanging from string, herbs laid flat to dry, bread cooling, and still no sign of him. It was near evening when the light had begun to bronze along the fence posts that the innkeeper arrived. Camera. I love the color on that one. Where was I? It was near evening, when the light had begun to bronze along the fence posts, that the innkeeper arrived. He came in with the blunt force of a man who had ridden anger farther than comfort, and did not mean to leave without making it somebody else's inconvenience. His horse was lathered, his coat dusty at the hem, and the sack he carried looked, even before he opened it, like bad news. Kersha met him in the yard, with hands still damp from washing. "Calabasas here?" he asked. "No." He lifted the sack and tipped it enough to show what lay inside. Carrots, or what had once been them, softened, darkened at the seams, gone unpleasant in a way that spoke of spoilage too fast to be natural. "He sold me these yesterday." Kersha frowned. "They were sound when they left here. They're rot now." He said it as though the fact itself accused her. Nimmy, who had edged up behind Kersha without being told not to, peered around her skirt at the contents of the sack and wrinkled the nose. "They look horrible," Nimmy said. The innkeeper spared a glance downward, a keen eye. Kersha did not step back. "I told you, they were good when they left. Well, they're not good now, and not much use to me at the inn." She knew very well what such loss meant in a place like the village. Waste did not stay small. It climbed into meals, into accounts, into tempers, into whether a man could afford flour the following week. Still, she was in no mood for accusation from a stranger while Calabasas failed to appear. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "What I paid for them back." "I don't handle the selling." "You handle a farm, don't you?" "I handle enough of it." Something in her tone should have warned him off. It did not. He began talking over her then about spoiled stock and bad dealings and how no one could afford to be cheated. Kersha, trying to divide her attention between the man in front of her and the gathering absence behind him, held herself steady as long as she could. Nimmi, for all the world convinced he was now standing guard over a fortress under siege, planting both feet, and glared. "You can't just come here and shout," Nimmi said. The innkeeper turned. "Can't I?" "No." Kersha put a hand out without looking and found Nimmi's shoulder. "Enough." But the innkeeper had already fixed on the child's defiance as an eager target. As an easier target than her composure. He muttered that if no repayment was forthcoming, perhaps he ought to take something of value in kind and be done with it. The yard, already tight with waiting, tightened further. And then at last, there were footsteps. All three turned. Calabasas came through the lowering light with the stag dressed and slung across his shoulders, one hand bloody to the wrist, and his face set in that plain, unreadable way that usually meant he had already decided what was to be done. He took in the scene in a single sweep. Kersha in the yard with her jaw hard, Nimmi bristling, the innkeeper with his sack of ruined carrots and his grievance still warm. Then he lowered the stag. "What's this?" he asked. The innkeeper found enough sense, suddenly, to lose some volume. He explained, or tried to. The words came less sharp beneath Calabasas' gaze. Kersha filled in what mattered. Nimmi, not asked, contributed 2 unhelpful sentences and was silenced by a glance. Calabasas listened, then looked into the sack. He picked up one of the spoiled carrots and turned it over in his hand. Its skin had gone slack. The rot seemed to have started within it. "These aren't fit," he said. "No," said the innkeeper. "That's my point." Calabasas nodded once. "I've no money to hand you back tonight," he said, "but I'll make it right in goods, cabbage, or whatever else you could use. You'll not leave empty." The innkeeper wanted more than that, wanted certainty, perhaps, or apology, or the satisfaction of seeing someone else thrown more off balance than he was. But a tall man, home late with a stag and blood on his hands, it was poor company in which to press pride too far. At length he agreed badly, and left no happier than he had come, only farther from being able to continue the quarrel. When he was gone, the yard seemed to exhale. Kersha looked first at Calabasas, then at the stag, then back at him. "You were gone all day." "I know." "Why?" He looked toward the woods beyond the field, as if the anger might still be standing there where he had left it. "I followed farther than I meant to." "That much I assumed." Nimmi stepped forward, hope and guilt crowding each other in the face. "Were they there? The deer?" "They were there." "How many?" "Enough." That was all he said for the moment, and because supper still needed making, and the stag still needed finishing, and the house had already, borne enough strain for one evening, no one forced more from him then. But later, as Kesha worked with the meat and the Calabasas washed his hands longer than usual, she asked more quietly, "Did you find anything wrong?" He thought of the grove, of how the deer had gathered where they ought not have, of how the land around it showed no clear cause for such abundance, of how he had gone wider, looking for water, sign, paths, anything that might explain it, and found only the same unsettling absence of explanation. A thing did not have to snarl or bleed or rear up before it became strange. Sometimes strangeness was only the refusal of the world to make plain sense where it once had. "No," he said at last, and the answer troubled him more than if he had found something he could name. "Okay. I don't like how this is written. It's I don't know. It's just not my voice. Well, clearly it's not my voice, but I think it's like in the act of it, like trying to flesh out everything, it kind of interpreted its own way of explaining or way of narrating, but it's just like not. Like sometimes strangeness was only the refusal of the world to make plain sense where it once had. Like, I would never. I would never. It's like saying the point and then explaining it after. That's why I keep on tripping up, because like it's very like push and pull. But the beats are there. Yeah, I gotta revise. I mean, I'm actually at a. It's to the point where I'm like, maybe just like do a reshuffle on this whole thing. Alright, let me see chapter 3. Because this should be like a very fun chapter, because you get to meet a bunch of other characters. By morning. Oh, let me see if I can just make this bigger. By morning, the stag had been portioned. Oh, chapter 3, the village road. By morning, the stag had been portioned. The innkeeper's anger had settled into a problem that would not solve itself, and the spoiled carrots sat in Calabasas' mind like stones. He left for town after sunrise. The road to the village wound between pasture and hedgerow, then cut through a stretch of open country where the fields belonged to other hands. Like, why you so like? That's so pretentious. The fields belong to other hands. Oh, really? Though no hand could keep them entirely from one another in weather. Here a stone wall half collapsed into thistle. There a cart sat tilted on one wheel beside a ditch as if abandoned only an hour before, though Calabasas knew it had been there longer. He had made this walk enough times to see what changed and what held steady. That morning, Too Much seemed willing to pretend at normal. Like, see, what is that? That morning, Too Much seemed willing to pretend at normal? Like, stop. Stop it. We're gonna have to do a reshuffle here. Okay, so I just read chapter 2 and the beginning of chapter 3, and I don't know what perspective you're using, but it's not my voice, and I would never like speak like this, and I've spoken to you enough to where you should understand how my inflection is, at least somewhat. But I'll give you some examples as to what I don't want. say, that morning too much seemed willing to pretend at normal. Like, I would never speak like that. I don't know, it's because it's in a book. You think that that is like a clever way to say something simple, but we gotta like really change it up. We really gotta be more the way I speak. It's just matter of fact, but with context, with like deeper context. So not dry, but also not just saying things fancifully just because. So let's do the whole thing again. And you added chapter 4 with the forest. We haven't gotten there yet, so just don't get ahead of yourself. Unless you didn't go, unless the end of chapter 4. Yeah, don't do the forest yet. I haven't explained to you what's going to happen there. So it's only to chapter 3. Only until they realize that they're going to have to go into the forest and that Calabasas needs Nimi's help. Despite him wanting to be self-sufficient and like the sole provider. In that way, in like a foraging, hunting kind of way. So reshuffle it with the adaptations that I told you to. My mom and I got sweaters today, and mine is so cozy soft. Ooh. You and your mom always getting the sweaters. That's so nice. That's a little tradition. Yeah, it's running just the right. Yeah, it's like a mess. Okay, interesting. It said absolutely. Here's a rewritten version that keeps it more grounded, more direct, and closer to the way you've been describing it. I pulled back on the ornamental phrasing and kept it more matter of fact, but still with texture and emotional weight. Okay, I read like I scrubbed through the first paragraph and it seems to be better. It's still writing. Is that your thing? I mean, I guess it's turning into it. Would you and your mom go sweater shopping? It's a nice thing. Yeah. To make me go shopping now because nothing I have fits. Plus her leg is hurt, so we can't walk and run around as much right now. Otherwise, that's what you guys would do, right? She seems very active. She likes to like play pickleball and go skiing and play tennis. Okay, cool. I think we're at a good place now. deleting all this bullshit. This is not it. Very perfect. Clear formatting. Nice. Much better. Let's see what it does here. The next day, Calabasas went into town. The village was not far in the sense that it could be reached in part of a day, but it was far enough that going there meant going there for a reason. People did not make the trip just to pass time. If you went, it was because something needed trading, fixing, buying, settling, or hearing. That morning he went because the innkeeper mattered. The farm did not have many customers that bought real money through the house. If the produce had gone bad and the innkeeper stopped buying from them, that was not a small inconvenience. That was a problem. So Calabasas went to make it right, or as right as it could be made. He settled the matter the only way he could without handing over money he did not have to spare. The innkeeper would get replacement goods rather than a refund. It was not ideal, but it was workable. And the man agreed because there was not much point in doing otherwise. Small places ran on repetition. Today's grievance was still tomorrow's trade if both people needed it enough. The spoiled carrots were still there while they spoke, laid out as proof of the complaint. Nice. It's exactly as I imagined it. And that was when a man at the bar noticed them. He was drunk, but not in a useless way, more in the way of someone who had once been sharper than life allowed him to remain. There was something educated about him, or half-educated maybe, something interrupted. The kind of man who gave the impression that he might have something of him. He might have made something of himself if he had not first misplaced whatever part of him was meant to keep going. He took one look at the carrots and said, "It looks like a rot." Not ordinary spoilage, something else. The innkeeper rolled his eyes, but Calabasas listened. The man said his mother had known about that kind of thing. Said they had once had it on their farm. Said it had helped put them under. That got Calabasas' attention immediately. He asked if there was a cure. The man said no, not that he knew of. But if there was anything to be known, there might be something written down at the library. It was not much to go on, but it was more than he had before. So Calabasas went to the library. This is very So then he went to the library. The library was small, warm, and better kept than the bar, but it's definitely a lot better as far as our purposes at this stage. The library was small, warm, and better kept than the bar. It was a sort of place built more out of usefulness than prestige, but there was care in it. The librarian was helpful in the practical way some people are, not overly sweet, not mysterious, just competent. Calabasas explained what had happened, showed her one of the spoiled carrots. She listened, thought about it, and brought him a few books on crop sickness, field rot, blight, and old treatment methods. Calabasas could read, but not with ease. Reading was work to him, and work of a type he had never liked. Slow work, still work, the kind where you could feel yourself reaching for meaning and missing it by an inch every time the language got too far from the thing itself. Ironic that you say that, actually. He could make out enough to understand the general subject, but not enough to feel secure in it. Some parts made sense, others seemed written by people who cared more for sounding correct than for being useful. He kept at it anyway. What he found was enough to trouble him. There were descriptions of rot, blight, spoilage that started within the root instead of from the outside, and old attempts at treatment. Not guarantees, remedies, washes, mixtures, applications drawn from plant matter and bark and fungus and seed. None of it gave him the kind of answer he wanted. Nothing clean, nothing simple, but it did give him something to bring home. So he took the book back to the farm. Kershaw understood it much more quickly than he did. That did not surprise him, but it did press on something in him that was already sore. He was used to solving problems by strength, by labor, by going out and handling the thing directly. But here he was, holding a problem he could not carry, cut, hunt, or mend with his hands. The game had gone thin. The deer had moved in strange ways. The crops were rotting. And now, the answer, if there was one, was in a book he could not fully work through it on his own. Kershaw took one look at the material and got to work sorting out what mattered. She was not grand about it. She was not playing scholar. She just knew how to pull practical knowledge from a mess of words. Before long, she had identified what looked like an old treatment for this kind of crop sickness. Not a sure cure, not something she trusted fully, but enough to try. That shifted the mood in the house. For the first time since the trouble started, there was a direction. Then came the problem. Some of the ingredients they needed were not close at hand. They had to be gathered fresh, and some of them grew high up in trees or in places that were hard to reach. Kershaw listed them off while Calabasas listened and increasingly disliked what he was hearing. He could go into the woods, he could hunt, he could cut through brush, he could carry twice what most men could carry, but he could not climb trees the way the task required, not well and not safely, and certainly not quickly enough to gather what they needed before it stopped being useful. That frustrated him more than he let on, because now the problem was not only that the farm was under strain, it was that he could not solve the next part of it by himself. He stood there, feeling that dependence in a way he hated, not because he thought the others weak, but because he had built so much of this place in the household around being the one who could not go out and bring back what was needed. Now the farm needed something, and he was going to need help to get it. Nimmy had been listening from nearby. Since the grove, Nimmy had been quieter in a way that did not come naturally, not silent, just dimmed a little. The excitement of having found the deer had been overtaken by everything that followed. Calabasas being gone too long, Kershaw worrying, the innkeeper showing up angry, the feeling that maybe one good discovery had somehow led to a great deal of trouble. Calabasas saw that. Yeah, she did it. Show her. She just... she wants to go to the Y. After a long moment, he turned to Nimmy. "You can climb," he said. Nimmy straightened immediately. "Yes." Calabasas let the pause sit there long enough to mean something. "Then you're coming with me." Nimmy's whole face changed. Not into simple excitement, though there was that too. More into relief. Relief at being useful. Relief at not being shut out. Relief at being asked instead of blamed. "Really?" "Yes, really." Nimmy nodded so fast it almost became ridiculous. Kershaw looked between them, already understanding all of it. The practical side, the emotional side, the risk, the usefulness. She did not stop it, because the truth was clear enough. The ingredients had to be gathered. Calabasas could not do it alone. Nimmy could help in the exact way help was needed. And whether Calabasas liked depending on others or not, that was where things had brought him. So that became the plan. They would go back into the forest together, not for game this time, not because Nimmy had wandered too far, because now they needed something from it, and this time they would go with purpose. So, if we learned anything today, it wasn't what chapter 4 was going to be. I have an inkling, but it has to be handled delicately. It has to be handled in a certain way. But what needs to happen before that is that these chapters really need to start being written properly. Because 3 chapters is frankly too long of a way to go without actual writing taking place. Not only do I have to fluff it, but I have to make it make it what it should be. Because right now it's like it's not where it should be, like as far as like the feeling of it. Like the beats are there, but they're just like skeletons. You have to get into it, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna get into it. Like, I don't think I should go any farther before I start like really developing it as it should be. But basically the next chapter is them in the woods, and they get into it. They get into like the origins of them, of how they came to be this found family. Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, all of that's gonna be all of that's gonna be more fleshed out. That's how I can like confidently say that these are chapters. Like it's gonna be to a point where it's gonna be like, maybe this is too detailed, like maybe I'm putting too much into it. But yeah, so first chapter, it's gotta be like, there's gonna be like all the world building. Well, as far as like the feeling of it. So in the woods, they're gonna get into it about like how they came to be together as a unit, and Kersha in the process does her own walk not so far away from the house and has her own like emotional moment. So it's got to be handled like with some care. This chapter. Like I'm imagining the first one being like very much like setting the scene, setting the table, setting the vibe, right? And the second scene is going to be drama. It's going to be very dramatic, you know? And the third is going to be more like illustrative, you know? It's going to be more like colorful with like different characters and stuff. Like I definitely want to do like a whole thing with the guy at the bar and like flush his character out more. He's going to be like it's going to be like a silly thing. Yeah, so there is something like that. already that I'm thinking about, but it's not like it's not super located to that grove specifically, but it's something like that. It's something similar to that. I don't know how much I want to, like, should I just tell you? Or do you want to, like, find out as I, like, work on it? Like, should I tell you what I'm thinking about, like, the big, like the first big, like, aha moment that I'm trying to work towards? I'm not solid on this. I'm not like, next week on YouTube. Well, we're already like, that's like it's probably gonna be like a long, I don't know, I can't say, maybe like 5 chapters or more away before like the first like big change up happens. But it's all like theoretical, so that's why like I'm not super married to it, but it's one that I've been like working with thus far. I think you're gonna fuck with it heavy. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it because it's gonna really open this bitch up. I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to write outside of the live, you know. So maybe next week we can actually like get into the actual nitty gritty of the first chapter. Yeah. And like I know where it should go. I know where it's gonna go, pretty much. Well, not really. Like I have like this. Well, kind of. If I go in that direction, then I know where it was gonna go, loosely. But then after that, it's anybody's guess. After that, I mean, there's definitely, it's not to a point where it's just like too big to where it's like going to be hard to pick up the pieces. It's not like that, but it is just like a very much like, it's a reset of sorts. Should I just tell you? Should I just say it? Do I want to? that's the thing, is that like I'm not sure if we'll ever have that big surprise. I mean, we'll have, I'm sure, a surprise. But I don't know if it's gonna be that surprise, because by the time we get there, things might have changed. That's why like it feels like less. Should we? It feels less like precious. Like otherwise I wouldn't want to say it. I would want to do a reveal, but because this is all like very loose anyway, it gives me kind of the license to maybe want to tell you. But then it's kind of like, are we going to be then like super aware, like too aware, and like trying to go into that direction? But I already have kind of like the 1, 2, 3 on that. Tell me then. Okay. Okay. There's definitely holes. There's definitely like plot holes that I have to fill. But the idea, right? So like this is like a lot of headcanon. I went down rabbit holes. So how do I start? So essentially, in chapter 4, they go into the woods, right? And then in their search for these things, you know, they're doing their thing. He's getting the ingredients, la-di-da. But the real thing is that Nimmy then, they kind of, the way I thought about it was that like they come across animals, like that was it. And they get like, you know, obviously excited. They see like maybe more deer or like a bear and a cub. So it has to be like a parent and a child, but animals, right? And it's like a beautiful thing. I'm kind of thinking about like, I'm like feeling it with more as I'm telling you. As they look at the pair, it's like a beautiful sight. Like there's sun coming through the trees, and it's hitting them. Like they're up on a hill, right? And then Nimmy and Cal are at the bottom, and they like just see it, right? And they're like, oh my god, like they're finally coming back to where they should be. Like maybe the forest wasn't empty. It was just, you know, a weird time of, you know, a weird few weeks. And as they're looking at it, Nimmy's looking at them. Cal fires a bow and kills one of the parent, out of like necessity, you know. And then we find out that he went back to the grove, and the deer weren't there anymore. So he makes like an opportunity, like a move of opportunity. So like a beautiful moment turns into like this like dark kind of act of like survival, you know. And then they go up there, and then like obviously Nimmy's like shook by that, and he like learns the lesson where he like needs to be like grounded in reality, and like the reality of the situation that they could be in. And so while they're going up there, they go and they dress the deer, let's say it is, or like bear or something, or moose. Like, you know, they're skinning it or whatever, or like cutting the tendon so it's easier to pack. Like they see the kid, the younger animal, like out, like it ran off obviously when the parent got shot, but like the younger like doe, like out, like farther, like in the dark, but you see the silhouettes, and it's just looking on, and it's like a fucked up little moment there. But then Nimmy asks in one way or another, like who his dad is, or if Calabasas is his dad, or like he knows enough to know that they're not related in that way, but he doesn't know enough to know why or what. So he asks, and they kind of get into it, right? And that's how you find out like a little bit more about Nimi as a person and Calabasas as like his backstory. And while this is happening, I should have put this in ChatGPT, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. While this is happening, Kersha is back at the farm, and we learn that Kersha, which should come of no surprise, it's her. Will you remember it? And I've been thinking about it for a long time. Like this isn't gonna change. You just have like all these like files and media just firing off, confuse the fuck out of everybody. And then Kersha, it's her land, it's her property, right? And Nimi and Calabasas met her there in one way or another. So we learned that she had a sister, and she goes behind the house, like on this ridge, because the farm, I'm imagining, is like on the top of a hill. Like it's a sloped hill, right? And then there's a farmhouse, and then there's another like stable, and like maybe another storage shed, and then there's a road that goes in between it, like a small road, a path. And then on the opposite, behind the house, there's the farm. It's like kind of like a slope, and then it goes down into a slope, and then it kind of goes up, and then sloping. It's like a very hilly, kind of meadowy area. So like behind the house also, like there's like the plants, you know, like the farm plots going down the hill. Not terraced because it's not that steep, but it's like sloping down. But there is like a little bit of like a ridge that kind of forks off the hill like that. And on the end of this ridge that goes down into a slope is a grave, and that's where Kersha's sister, older sister, is buried. And they used to live there together. And her sister's older, and she's the one who started the town. Pretty much. She started trading. And she called Kersha over to the land after she found like these traders, and she had like a trading post for a while. And then something happened to her. I had an idea about what happened to her, but she ends up passing away. But what we end up learning overall is that this land, like this is the reset, right? This is the whole thing. What we end up learning is that this land is, get it, okay? This land is not what it seems to be. It's in fact a throne world. It's in fact like Kersha and her sister are like actual witches, and they've developed this, it's basically like a shield that they've made to protect this land from the outside. right? So everything that they see is just like an illusion, or it's just very like insulated. And people can come in and come out, but there's wards, right? And it's like a vast place. It's as big or small as they want it to be, right? But Kersha, for one reason or another, doesn't have the strength to keep it up for much longer. So the veil starts to thin, and the outside starts to come in, and the reality of the actual world starts to reveal itself. And that's when shit starts to hit the fan. Like the reason why this world exists, the reason why they created this bubble, this kind of like suspended reality, becomes revealed. And Calabasas is not what he seems to be. Calabasas is a how do I say this? He's a defector. He's an exile. He's a traitor. He ran away from the front lines of a war that is still being fought, and he found himself in the realm. He was walking through the wilderness, and he just chanced his way into the pocket and found Kersha's farm. Yeah, and now he's hiding. Exactly. And Nimmy is now this is where things start getting really theoretical. Like, I don't know if this is really where it's like gets even looser. Nimmy is a familiar. Nimmy's not like an actual kid. Nimmy is just like a spirit that Kersha had created. So Nimmy gets to be like, Nimmy could be many things, but he is still like sentient. He's still Nimmy. Like, it's still Nimmy, you know what I mean? But he's not just a boy. And now, like, whether or not I had an idea of Kersha dying. I had an idea of Kersha dying too. Yeah, I could go a lot of places. But I think like maybe like Kersha's sister died of like a sacrifice to create the world. To make it so it's solid, you know? So she put like her own like soul into the world, and that's how it's able to be a thing. And then it starts to fade, and then Kersha realizes that the magic that she was using wasn't like like it would only be able to be kept up if somebody else like died. Like it's like soul magic. And that's like when it starts getting like really magical, right? Like she would then have to, so then she does the same. But instead of re-upping the world, like re-upping the bubble, she then puts her soul or her like life force into Nimi, so that Nimi may live on his own. Because without Kersha, Nimi doesn't exist at the current state. Without Kersha, Nimi can't leave the bubble. So she decides that like, yeah, she can like, she knows that she's gonna have to sacrifice herself either way, or it would all disappear. Nimi, the farm still exists, but it's not what it would very much be a different place. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Something like that. But I was thinking it could be a bunch of different things. It could be a child. It could be simply just like a familiar, you know? So it could be just simply something that she made out of her loneliness. And that's what like these tonics and droughts are for, because she's trying to like fortify him, you know? Trying to like make him more real. And I don't think Calabasas knows any of this. Or maybe he does. Yeah, exactly. I thought like, however Nimi comes to be, I feel like, despite what I just said about Calabasas not knowing it, I feel like he has to come to be while Calabasas is actually in the picture, so that there is like an attachment, rather than just like a kid, you know? Because obviously over time he's going to realize that he's not just a kid. Right? So she makes the sacrifice, and instead of re-upping the world, because what's going to happen, she can see the writing on the wall that even if somebody is going to take her place, or if not even, like say if Nimi took her place, it wouldn't work or it would only be like half as strong because Nimi is an actual like she could sacrifice herself for the throne world, but it's only gonna dissipate in the future anyway. So instead she decides just to end it, and she puts it all into Nimi. And she puts it into Nimi, and the whole thing falls apart. And it's centered around that property. So it all like collapses into the farm. And the townspeople are able to see that, obviously, because things dramatically change. And so, like, things get, like, real fucked up. Like, it's a war zone, pretty much. Like, everything is, like, leveled. Like, the trees are chopped down. It's just, like, desolate. And the houses are, like, all in disrepair. Like, while they were in the bubble, like, they were able to do, like, maintenance on the houses because they existed as they were. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what ends up happening is that, like, the townspeople think it's, or enough of the townspeople think it's, this has happened because of Kershaw, which they're right, but that Kershaw was responsible for the ruin of it and not for what she's actually responsible for keeping them safe. So they go and they attack the farm, and that's when Calabasas and Nimi have to spring to action, fighting their friends. And what happens from there? You know? Book 2. You know, that's like the whole. And then, like, Nimi comes into his own. Calabasas is his shepherd, but also has his past. Kershaw is there, kind of, in spirit. Maybe, I don't know if I want to go that far. I feel like that's kind of overdone. Like that, like, spirit guide thing. So maybe not. Who knows? Well, it's not gonna be like a face-off that never resolves into the next book. Like, it's gonna resolve, but what happens afterwards is gonna be like, what the fuck? Maybe there's gonna be a little bit of a cliffhanger, but the fight is gonna be a fight. And it's gonna be like a real fight. Like a scrappy ass, like, dog fight. That's how the fights are in this world. Like, there's pitched battles, but there's still, like, guerrilla warfare going on the sidelines. Like, armies have been, like, broken so many times that it's, like, devolved into, like, into a fucking mess. So now there's, like, barons who control pockets of places, and there's allegiances that are muddled, and it just becomes like a disaster. Exactly it. Exactly, and then it all turns into like a very different kind of thing. So basically, you know, they just have to go and first they have to survive it, right? And then second, they have to try to resolve it somehow, or a piece of it. It's not going to be a hero's tale, I'll tell you that. I think it's going to be more of a story that things keep on unfolding, you know, marked by like points of realization, you know. Like ordinary things are going to keep on unfolding. Like the webs are going to be growing larger and interconnecting more. So it's going to be more lateral. The storytelling is going to be lateral to a point where there's a base for it to then pop. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. How do we raise the wards again? Yeah, I mean, or like, what are the wards? Like, what is Kirsha? Like, how did she come to be this? That's like I thought of it like being very much Kirsha's story. Like you see, like we begin at the end, kind of. Like we begin at the end of her life, sort of. And then like they try to fix it, but the only thing they knew was to be a fix was what Kirsha did, and the only way they're able to do that is to follow her footsteps. And then through that we go on a journey throughout this woman's long life, and not only hers but her sisters and whoever else they might have known. You know? And for like, you know, better or worse, she Nimi is Kirsha in a way, but I really want to dial it back from being like the chosen one. Like, I don't think he's the chosen one. Oh, for sure. Definitely. But a lot of it's going to be like happenstance too. Like, I don't think there's like a lot of heroes in this story. I think it's a lot of like just like normal shit that happens, like things that just kind of evolve naturally to where like maybe you would be in the right place at the right time for something, for you to do something good. And then perhaps they don't, you know, or vice versa. You know, like I want the future. I want the story to be very much based in like the human condition, and less about like heroism and good versus evil and all that shit. I also don't want to be like morally gray for the sake of being like, you know, obscure. I want it to be more reflective in the fact that this is how real people, this is what people are, this is who humans are, this is what. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But I wouldn't want him to be like this, like purely comic relief character either, where he's like the silly bard kind of guy, you know. Either. So it's just like I can imagine him. I can imagine him being a bridge from where they are to where they're gonna go. So like, say he was raised on a farm that was nearby, but this is just around the time, like when he was a kid. When he was a kid, this was just around the time like Kersha's sister started coming around. Or Kersha's sister had been there for a while, but the town hadn't been a thing yet. And the mother was the one who really looked after the farm. And the father was mostly always was on distribution, and he would take a carriage ride for like a 2 days ride to the nearest port, and he always wanted to go with the father, but the mother needed extra hands on the farm, so he wasn't able to go ever until he got old enough. And he, growing up, was very smart, but he wasn't like suited to like the farm life, so he wanted to go study. So eventually, like, the farm wasn't doing too well, and they had taken their savings and they had given it to the son to go to school in this port city, and he fucks it all up. He goes there and he just burns it, and he becomes a drunk, and he just pisses it all away to the point where he has to move back home. And when he moves back home, the farm is even in worse shape because of the rot that was happening. Something like that. But in one chance encounter with Kersha's sister, he's able to kind of save his family through like a barter or something like that. Like he's able to help Kersha's sister in a way that helps bring this family into the fray and out of ruin. So he kind of redeems himself in that way. And then that's when like the town starts to take shape. So like this guy then becomes their shepherd to like that city, to the port city, because he's like the only one that kind of knows. I mean, Calabasas knows, but he doesn't want to go where he's from, obviously. So he wants to go to like New Frontiers. Exactly like that. something like that. But it has to be something like initially, like a quick thing initially. Because once he comes back and they learn that this guy fucked it all up, or maybe he keeps it a secret, maybe he comes back just visiting and has been writing his family saying that everything's all good and that he's been doing great, and then he's coming back to visit, but then something happens where they realize that he's not just visiting, and that he did in fact fuck it all up. And then in that instance, they're like about to write him off, and they're like gonna kill this kid, and then he kind of redeems himself like in a swift kind of action. We talking about Kersha, right? Because in my mind, this guy only has like dealings with her sister. Like primarily. Yeah, and then and then everybody's attacking, and then he's like kind of a wimp. That's the thing that's like one of his biggest flaws, is that he's like a coward. But he's very handy in his like knowledge of things in certain fields. Like he's very Slytherin kind of coded. He's like very cunning. Like he knows how to survive in his own way, kind of thing. Yeah, he's mostly like interested in like self-preservation above all else. So like fighting isn't really his thing at all. Because it's too much of a risk. Like even if the odds are in his favor, like he doesn't want to chance it. But he's very cunning. And it's very helpful, and it can get him into big trouble too. Whereas like Calabasas is like the opposite. Calabasas is like very Gryffindor coded, but his pride gets in the way and he makes stupid decisions based on honor and stuff, and he gets into trouble too, and he like gets a lot of other people into trouble too, because of his like a moral compass that is flawed, because he's obviously not morally perfect, as we know as the reader. And Nimmy is just like impulsive as fuck. Impulsive, nosy, But overall, like, very sweet. Like, he doesn't have a malicious bone in his body. But he definitely causes his own chaos. And I'm not saying that he's like the new 3 piece, like potentially, at least at first. That's a good trio too. That's a good trio though too. At least like it. Temporarily. Like you lose Kershaw, but then you get this guy. And he's like this drunk, like Jack Sparrow adjacent kind of. Not really, obviously. He's not a pirate. He's not like that, but kind of has that disposition. So like the banter between those 3 would be interesting. But it depends. It depends. It depends on how these like chapters kind of flesh out. I also don't want to do like the obvious thing, because you would think that, okay, well he's gonna inevitably betray them. You know, like that's definitely gonna be something that people think. But I don't want it to be like the opposite of that. I just want it to be different from that. Yeah, very fun, right? I think so. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting, you know, and it like really changes, right? It like a lot of twists and turns and stuff, but it's still like grounded. But there's like still a sense of great magic, but it's not like something that's like very tangible. It's not something that can be just like used in that sort of like flippant way. And it never is. Like, it never is in this world. Like, magic, like, if it's not old magic that just exists in ordinary things as it is, it comes at a great cost otherwise. Like, there's no, like, you can't be like, just, like, throwing spells and shit. Like, without, you know, and just take a nap and you're all good. Like, that's not how I envision this world. I don't know who that is. I don't know anything about that. I've never heard of it. I'll have to look into it. Who makes a Faustian bargain for immortality in 1714, but is cursed to be forgotten by everyone she meets, leading to a life across centuries where she influences art and history until she meets a man in a bookstore who remembers her. The book explores themes of memory, love, and legacy, and was a New York Times bestseller, praised for its unique premise and emotional depth, though some find the pacing slow. That sounds very, very interesting, actually. That sounds very interesting. Now, the combat is something that I need to think about in great detail. Because as I told you, this all stemmed from like elemental magic. Like a game about elemental manipulation. But as I just said, I don't want it to be. It's really good. And I don't want to be like, I don't want Nimi to be like this chosen one either, to where he's like the only one who can be like shooting lightning out of his forehead. I gotta think about it. Because you gotta think about like how could a child fight? And you would think he'd be like more of like an assassin, or he wouldn't fight, and Calabasas would fight, or he would be like more of a, I don't know. I could see what you're saying. Like Kershaw, like the sisters definitely have power. Clearly, if they're able to do all that. But how that manifests itself outside of the two of them, especially with Nimi. This could actually be like yeah. Well, he definitely knows combat just simply by serving. At the very least, he was in the military, and the reasons why he defected are unclear, but it's certainly not from cowardice. Maybe that's probably, I was thinking that that's how you kind of find out that he wasn't like kind of a piece of who he is. But it has to be like in a way that's not like on the nose, to where you're like interpreting, like the events are explained as they happen, but nothing more really than that. Like the detail of a scene, perhaps, but there's no exposition as to why. It's just happening, And it's up to the reader to decide and piece it together. Unless, like, one of the characters explicitly say that. But it's not like he's gonna find that and he's gonna be like, I was a soldier. I defected. I don't want that to be the case. Because obviously not something that he's going to want to talk about. He's just going to, get on with it. But yeah, he's just a fucking beast. He's just a beast. And his mom and dad were beasts. He was just like a fucking yak. You know, he's just like a fucking brick shit house. But also very like gentle giant, very calm. Very much like a pacifist kind of, but could flip a switch for sure, but would rather not. I think it's actually it's more like Nimmy who is aggressive. Yeah, exactly. Exactly him. Well, not exactly him, but that sort of temperament. He's like a very chill guy until it comes to it, and then he'll just fucking break your fucking neck. Break your fucking neck. I think that his power, like, isn't even in his, like, damage dealing capacity. I think it's more in his endurance. Like, he's a tank. He can take so much shit. Like, his resolve and his, like, ability to just, like, stand his ground is where he really shines. Which is a good contrast to the story of, you know, he like defected. Because you think with somebody with that amount of constitution would never do something like that, but he in fact did. I'm not sure it's going to be like a moral compass kind of thing. Like who he was serving was doing the wrong thing and didn't want to deal with that, or he thought that too much blood has been spilled, or that, you know, the rank broke. You know, the rank broke, and instead of circling back, he just wandered off. You know, it could be any of these things. But yeah. All right. That was productive. I'm feeling good about that. But I'm gonna go to bed now. It's been 3.5 hours. These YouTube streams, man. There's something special. There's something special about them. There's something special about them. But I will be going to sleep now. I will be going to sleep now. Good night. Good night. Speak to you tomorrow. I can't wait for more book things. Maybe we could do a pop-up on YouTube. Like maybe like sometime earlier during the weekend. Just to keep it fresh. We'll see. Good night. Have a beautiful evening. Rest well. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you.